There was no joy on Wastelands, not now, not ever. The skies above were choked with black, acid-laced clouds that clung to the heavens like a dying world's last breath. Lightning rolled constantly in shades of sickly green, flashing across broken mountains and rusted plains. The rain that fell was poison, eating through scale and stone alike. Wind never whispered. It howled like a wounded beast, and the land below was as lifeless as it was cruel. And yet, something survived. 3 dragons, born not of fantasy, but of evolution, survival, and sheer will, called this poisoned land home. They were flesh and blood, yes, but not like the dragons of children's tales. These were creatures shaped by their world, molded to endure the unendurable. Where others perished, they thrived. Where life ended, they began. The first was Neroxide, a lean, angular drake built for the hunt. With limbs like scythes and feet evolved to grip slick, rocky crags, he could leap vast distances with terrifying speed. His split jaw, lined with dagger-like teeth, was built for striking with precision. Though his body was wiry and fast, his health was fragile, and so he relied on stealth. He was a silent stalker, his frills flaring and tail rattling to warn before the strike came. In the silence of the wastelands, he moved like a shadow that never cast itself. The second was Venid, a wasp-winged blur in the acid-scorched skies. Built for speed, Venid lived in the wind, darting through storm fronts and dodging lightning strikes with unmatched reflexes. His flight was a weapon, and his venomous stinger tail an even deadlier one. Though quick to temper, Venid was sharp, always calculating, always watching. He'd flown more miles across the dead skies than any other, and every inch of storm cloud knew his wings. Then there was Radidon, a living mountain. He was massive, scale-thick, and silent. Eyeless, he moved not by sight, but through the tremors in the ground and the scent of the world around him. His sense of smell was unrivaled, his awareness absolute. Though often mistaken for a lumbering brute, Radidon's soul was calm, gentle, even. He did not seek violence, but when it came for him, he crushed it without pause. The Wastelands gave birth to many horrors, but none like him. For centuries, the 3 had lived apart, scattered across the world's broken bones. They hunted, they endured, they survived. But everything changed when Neroxide looked up. It was a night like any other, thunder roaring, acid falling. But then, through a fracture in the storm, the sky opened just for a heartbeat, and there it was, the moon. A pale, distant shape. Not a myth, not a story, but a real thing, glowing faintly beyond the clouds. It haunted Neroxide. It called to him. From that day, he stopped hunting and started watching, mapping wind patterns. Measuring cracks in the clouds, tracking shadow positions, he knew it was real. He knew it was changing. Growing. Years passed. He worked alone. His kind were territorial and few ever sought company, but the patterns continued. The moon wasn't dead. It was active. Covered in strange, glowing ore that shimmered like veins of energy through its crust. It pulsed like something alive. And Neroxide needed answers. So he sought out the only dragon he trusted not to strike him down on sight. Venid. He found him soaring through a canyon storm, riding the winds like a blade through silk. When they met, the air hissed with static.
I need your eyes.
Sounds right.
Worse. I found something on the moon.
There is no.
There is. It is growing. It's changing. Look.
He shared what he had. Maps, fragments, sketches carved into rock, scents collected on wind. Venid didn't trust easily, but he knew Neroxide's precision, and what he saw disturbed him.
This isn't Wasteland. This isn't even natural.
I think it's waking up.
Neroxide whispered. They both knew it was bigger than them, so they turned to the only one who might understand its magnitude. Radidon. Deep beneath the canyons, buried in earth to shield him from the storms, the giant slumbered. It took days to wake him. Vibrations sent scents left in the sand, trails carved into rock. When he finally rose, the ground quaked. He did not speak often, but when he did, they listened.
This world, it doesn't belong here. It never did.
They all stood in silence, acid rain hissing against their backs.
It's time we saw for ourselves.
But the skies of Wastelands were not kind to wings. Even Venid, fastest of them all, could not survive the upper storms. So together, the 3 of them did something no dragon of Wastelands had ever done before. They began to build. With talons and tooth, with scavenged parts and ancient instincts, they crafted The first dragon-made flight suits, not armor, adaptations. Shells that would allow them to breathe in the void, shield their flesh from the storm, and soar not through wind, but stars. The journey to the moon would not be easy, but none of them could deny it now. Something up there was waiting, and now it knew they were coming. The moon was nothing like Wastelands. Gone were the choking clouds and acidic rain. Gone was the endless thunder that cracked across shattered horizons. Instead, the sky was a canvas of swirling stars and nebulae, colors unknown to the dragons. Violet rivers, golden wisps, and streaks of green and pink that danced like flame. The three dragons stood at the edge of a massive crater, still hissing from their suit vents, staring at the alien world spread before them. Below lay a glowing tech city, abandoned, silent, and humming with power. Metallic spires jutted from the crater floor, pulsing with soft blue lights. Caves tunneled through the crater's rim like veins in ancient stone, glimmering with the same strange ore Neroxide had tracked for years.
What is that?
That's a nebula. Plasma clouds, star residue, exploded sun, dead light.
It smells like burnt lightning and, I think, someone's disappointment.
Right, so nothing like home.
The three dragons marched forward with cautious steps, the soft crunch of crystalline soil under their claws. Their suits, a patchwork of scavenged gear, scales, and volcanic glass, whirred with odd clicks and buzzes. Not built for comfort, built for survival. As they descended toward the metallic structures, a sudden shimmer appeared in the air before them, like a heat mirage, but solid. Out stepped a dragon unlike anything they had seen. He was tall and lean, with plates of gleaming chrome fused with tough, dull-colored scales. His wings crackled with energy, and his tail ended in what looked like a glowing plasma blade. He was clearly old, maybe even ancient, but not fragile. More like a sword left in the forge too long.
You made it. Impressive. Most visitors don't survive the approach.
Well, we're not most visitors. We're wastelanders.
We lived through acid and rain, carnivorous frog, and the sandstorm that once tried to sue me.
Right, I see.
He eyes them for a moment, unimpressed.
I'm Progress, Guardians, Moon's Core, and last sentinel of the deep halls.
Do the deep halls sell snacks?
No, they sell death.
A long, awkward pause.
Cool, so do we knock first or...
Roborus led them along a metallic path that rang under their feet. As they passed strange structures, towers shaped like tuning forks, glowing obelisks humming with energy, walls of hexagonal lights, the three couldn't help but stare. The cave mouths near the back of the crater shimmered, as if the ore inside was breathing.
This is the same ore I tracked from Wastelands, but it's growing here, spreading.
Yeah, but it's spreading like fungus, or spreading like ancient space virus with abandonment issues.
You're not meant to go any deeper. The caves are ancient. They connect to something that was meant to remain buried.
So like, a big problem, or are we go with a stick and run kind of problem?
Hey, you wicked. You all got spirit problem.
Look, we survived Wastelands. The moon's just a tanky hill with fancy rocks. We can handle this, right?
Besides, they didn't come all this way to not dig through alien space ore.
And I got snacks.
Man, everything else, I wish you luck. You'll need it.
As the trio turned toward the cave, something changed. The sky, brighter now, shifted, and for the first time in their lives, the veil of night peeled back to reveal the full glory of the nebula overhead. Swirling like paint in water, the celestial clouds stretched across the sky in a cascade of color, bathing them in hues never seen on Wastelands. Their bodies glowed in soft blue, crimson, and violet. Even Radidon's dulled scales shimmered like polished stone. For a moment, none of them moved.
I didn't know the sky could look like that.
I didn't know I could feel this small.
I think I'm going to write poetry.
Please don't.
Too late. I'm already calling it Nebula on my unspoken yearnings.
Oh, makes the run look acid reflux.
They all laughed, a strange, awkward sound on a moon that hadn't known laughter in eons. And then, without another word, they entered the caves. The deeper they went, the more the ore shimmered. The tunnels hummed with something alive, like a heartbeat. The deeper veins pulsed in rhythmic flashes. Something was down there. Something old. Something watching. The ore wall pulsed again. Venid took a step back, claws instinctively flexing. The veins in the rock vibrated, and from the shimmer came a shape. Tall, slow-moving, but unmistakable. It was him, sleek metal plates where there should be scales, bright eyes like polished lanterns, a tail with a sharpened edge, wings broad but built more for gliding than speed, and most uncanny of all, the face. Identical. Every ridge, every scar, even the way it tilted its head.
Okay, nope, I didn't sign up for existential horror today.
The figure stepped forward, calm and almost gentle.
Venid, you made it!
Wait, you talk like you know me. You look like me. Are you? Wait, no. Are you one of those evil twin things?
Not evil. Just different.
Venid paced in a slow circle, circling the robotic figure like a cautious predator trying to decide if this thing was a threat or just another weird moon hallucination.
Okay, questions. Actually, lots of questions. First, what are you? Second, why do you look like me? Third, are you planning to steal my face to pretend to be at family dinners?
I'm Cybernid. I was built using this structure, modeled on your form, your species, your memories.
My memory.
There are traces, data harvested from Wastelands transmissions. You're not the only dragon who's been watched.
Venid's eyes narrowed, tail twitching sharply.
So what? You're some kind of robo-stalker?
No, I was created to help, to protect. Every evil cycles, waiting, watching, hoping someone will return. Someone like you.
For a moment, the cave buzzed with nothing but that low pulse of ore light. Venid let out a slow breath. The tension in his shoulders eased just a little.
Okay, so you're like a weird robot twin who wants to be friends?
Exactly.
That's not terrifying at all.
Cybernid let out something that sounded remarkably like a chuckle, a soft artificial buzz with a faint echo behind it.
Look, I know it's strange. You're not here to harm me. In fact, I came to warn you.
Venid raised a brow.
Of course you did.
Venid, something is buried deep in this moon, under the ore, under the tech. We call it Robodon.
That's a very uncomforting name.
It was built, or summoned, or built, asleep. If you go deeper, if you dig far enough, it may awaken.
And then what? Throws us a party?
It will consume light, metal, flesh, worlds.
Venid paused, staring down the tunnel that stretched beyond the ore chamber. Darker veins, heavier hums, something alive down there. Maybe. But curiosity burned hotter than fear.
Yeah, see, that's real spooky and all, but I came here to do research, learn stuff, and maybe discover something that can help back home.
Then let me come with you. If you insist on being reckless, at least let me help. That's the best I could do for you.
Venid hesitated. He wasn't used to help. Not real help. Not someone choosing to follow just because they wanted to. Wasteland dragons survived alone, or they didn't survive at all. But something about Cybernid, his voice, his presence felt genuine.
Alright, Robodon, you're in. Just don't go turning evil on me halfway through.
If I do, you have permission to punch me in the antenna.
Deal.
And so the two dragons, one of flesh, one of forged metal, descended deeper into the heart of the moon, side by side, unaware of the echoes they were waking. Circuit songs and crystal caves. The tunnel had narrowed. The glowing ore veins were thicker now, crisscrossing the walls like nerves. Venid walked ahead, his tail flicking behind him as he studied the rock formations.
So these veins really are alive? Are we, like, inside Space Dragon's orbit right now? Because that's not the vibe we want for today.
They're overthinking it. They're conduits, left behind by ancient machines. But yes, kind of like arteries.
Thanks. Definitely no.
They walked a few more steps, the hum of the ore louder now. Venid lit a small flame from his jaws just to get a clearer look.
Alright, just A little fire. What's the worst that can happen?
Wait, don't!
Venid's fire licked across the ore wall, and instantly a tremor ran through the stone beneath their feet. The cave groaned. Crack!
Oh no.
That's not a good robot noise.
It's a cave-in! We need to run now!
Without hesitation, they both spun around and bolted through the tunnel. The walls cracked around them as stone slabs crashed to the ground. Dust and glittering debris rained from above. One boulder nearly clipped Venid's wing, but Cybernid threw his metal body against it, shielding him.
Okay. No too subtle. Don't touch mysterious moving. Got it.
They burst from the cave mouth just as the tunnel behind them collapsed in a cascade of glowing rubble. Silence followed. Then the buzzing hum faded into stillness. Venid panted, checking his wings. Cybernid stood, back scorched slightly, but otherwise unharmed.
Allow me to never make you mad. You tackle like a meteor.
You're welcome.
They looked around. Off in the distance, across a ridge of crystalline rock, they saw the flicker of two familiar figures, Radidon and Neroxide, exploring a different cavern. Safe. Unaffected. Venid sighed in relief.
Good. I don't have to explain to Neroxide how I almost got squished by curiosity.
Venid shot him a smirk.
Don't worry, you get the hang of surviving. Eventually.
Wow, even robot me is sarcastic. Impressive.
They walked a little further down a smoother path, where the cavern opened into a large, circular platform. A massive machine sat in the middle, flickering with dull lights, wires tangled like roots. Faded signs in a language Venid didn't recognize marked the old walls.
Right over here. This is a processing plant. Still works. With a little love.
Love or duct tape?
Love.
Venid watched as Cybernid tapped a glowing panel. A whirring noise echoed through the chamber. Lights flickered to life.
Wait, what are you doing?
Playing with the sun!
Oh, great! What song?
Is right. Make your every design. It's the order where it grows. Later than the crystal. Ta-da!
From a panel below, a glowing green crystal dropped into a small bin.
You just turned my near-death trauma into a jingle.
Efficiency and education.
You've got weird priorities, Robodon.
Venid picked up the crystal. It glimmered in his claws, a color he'd never seen on Wastelands. Bright, pure, powerful.
There's currency here. Rare, trade them, use them, or power things with them. This place, around these ones.
Venid gave a low whistle.
Alright, I admit, this moon's got some style.
Hey, want me to show you more?
Lead the way, Shiny.
Together, they walked deeper into the ruined station, unaware that far beneath the rubble they'd escaped, something massive shifted. Neroxide's claws scraped rhythmically at the cave wall, sparks flying as the ore cracked away in chunks. His head frills twitched at every clink and echo, listening for anything interesting or edible.
Alright, if I was a rare moon ore hiding from a six-limbed mantis dragon, where would I be?
He paused, hearing something. A voice. No, two voices. One of them, familiar.
Venid?
Another voice replied, softer, mechanical, unfamiliar. Neroxide squinted, took a breath, and slammed his claws through the wall. With a final crack, the rock gave way, and there they were. Venid, blinking in surprise, and beside him, metal. Wasp-like. An exact replica of Venid, only bigger, shinier, and looking like someone slapped an AI core into a suit of Venid cosplay.
You multiplied.
Nero, I swear, it's not what it looks like. Okay, maybe it is, but he's cool.
I'm Cybernid. Don't be alarmed. I'm technically friendly.
I've seen worse. I once mistook a heathens for a snake.
The trio barely had time to settle into introductions when a hissing skitter echoed down the tunnel. From the shadows, space scorpions. Jagged, plated creatures with glinting moonstone armor, clacking pincers, and stingers that sparked with blue static.
Of course, alien bug, because why not?
Don't worry, I got this.
Neroxide's frills rattled menacingly. He leapt into action, slamming into one of the creatures and flipping it over. Venid let out a burst of fire, catching two more mid-leap. Cybernid used his tail like a blade, slicing clean through another's exoskeleton. Above them, a vulture-like silhouette shrieked and dove.
Soldiers too?
Moon's got a whole petting zoo in death.
They fought back to back until the last scorpion sparked and twitched, curling up into a burnt-out shell. Then it happened. Boom! A violent tremor shook the entire cave. Dust dropped from the ceiling in thick clouds. The ground pulsed, as if something had just punched the moon's surface from space. They rushed toward the light of an opening. Outside, smoke, fire, a crater, a massive meteorite still glowing hot sat embedded in the valley. Then, a voice, faint, muffled, alive.
Oh, anyone, open this rock, please?
That voice. No way! That's the Xerthos!
Wait now?
My old friend. He wasn't going stuck in another meteor again.
Another? This is like a hobby of it.
Together, the trio worked quickly, breaking pieces of the meteorite apart. The rock split with a final crack, and out rolled a shape. Tall, sleek, metallic wings, one slightly bent, glowing eyes like twin suns behind a cracked faceplate.
Freedom! Oh, Moon, I missed oxygen. Whoa, what passes for oxygen here?
Xerthos, you're okay!
Better than okay. Slightly concussed, mildly radioactive, and very grateful.
Venid helped steady him while Neroxide poked at the remains of the meteor.
So, what were you doing crash landing into the blue?
Xerthos' smile faded. He stood straighter, brushing off dust.
I came back to warn whoever was here to stop them from going deeper, especially this deep. You told them, didn't you?
I did, but they wouldn't listen.
Okay, well, to be fair, the moon is fascinating. Also, I didn't expect a doomsday dragon in the basement.
His name is Robodon. I'm a son born of tech and destruction. Buried long ago beneath the deepest layers of this moon. Every few hundred years, he waits.
And let me guess, is that time again?
Well, soon. The tremors, the scorpion, the lack of life, all signs that he's coming soon. Everyone left this moon to avoid what happens next.
Which means we're next if we don't work together. Which is why we need to make a plan.
Exactly.
Silence fell for a moment. The wind brushed across the crater rim.
Well, we got 3 dragons and a meteor survivor. What could possibly go wrong?
Do you want the long list or the short one?
They all chuckled, nervously, then turned back toward the caves, the stars, and the unknown horrors waiting in the depths below. The ore wall was massive, towering, gleaming with veins of green and violet, humming slightly like something beneath it was alive.
That's definitely the place. Robodon's lair lies beyond this wall.
Oh, this would be another back door. Where's the evil land architect you knew when you need him?
Let's just break it before I make a door with my face.
They all nodded, and together, their claws, flames, and engines went to work. Boom, crack, crumble. The wall gave out. The 4 dragons yelped as the ground beneath them collapsed, and they tumbled down into a deep echoing pit, hitting stone with a jarring thud.
Ow! Everything hurts. Even things I didn't even know I had.
I believe we all survived, mostly intact.
They sat up groggily, only to spot it. A large green chest stood in the center of the chamber. It hummed with dormant power, covered in geometric lines, its seams locked tight with glowing battery ports.
That looks important.
It is. That's the entrance key. If we're going to stop Robodon from waking up and vaporizing this entire moon, we're going to have to awaken ourselves.
Oh great, let's just poke the murder dragon with a stick. What could possibly go wrong?
I know, it's risky, but if we don't, he'll wake up on his own. When we're not ready, this is our only shot. We gotta take advantage of it.
They all looked at one another and nodded.
Well, let's find some batteries, shall we?
As they split off to search, Neroxide wandered through a jagged tunnel lined with cracked glass screens and abandoned machines. He muttered to himself, his head frills twitching with amusement.
Wow, can't believe it. We got a single robot wasp, a rocket-powered airplane lizard, and me, cracking up like a squirrel. Ooh, I'm so... okay, either I bumped into a mirror in a Halloween shop, or...
Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I usually do that.
You look like me. If I was made by someone with spare parts and too much free time.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I'm making up time. I got jokes, but no friends. So, hi.
You've got jokes?
Why don't driving use phones?
Why?
Because they're called keep hitting the wrong skills.
Okay, that's awful. You're hired, new best friend.
Mecha blinked, surprised, but his head frills wiggled with joy.
Wait, you want to be my friend?
Yep, come on, let's be socially awkward together.
Mecha beamed and gestured toward a screen embedded in a console nearby.
Hey, I was actually watching something, so I should keep an eye on it.
The screen displayed a timer, green digits counting down slowly.
What's that?
It's the Mecha Meteorite. When it hits the moon's surface, it'll crack open, and he'll come out.
Who?
Motorouk, the metal legend, a beast forged in moonfire and fury. No wings, just muscle. Two-tailed and twin swords, a jaw that can crush a tank.
And he's in that meteor.
Yeah, pretty soon too. This whole place is heating up like a soup pot.
Great. Add another name to the things on my kill us list.
Back in the pit, the others regrouped, arms full of glowing power cells.
Yo, Neroxide, I got him. We got enough juice to light up the moon.
Yeah, let's just hope it doesn't explode the moon.
As the batteries were loaded into the green chest, the seams lit up one by one. The ground beneath them vibrated with a low hum. The entrance was unlocking, and far above them, the meteor streaked across the black sky like a comet of doom, ticking toward impact.
Think this rusty thing's gonna charge?
Definitely. Look, it's dual cell. That counts as two.
They rushed back to the pit, the green chest humming as they inserted the power cores. For a moment, nothing happened. Then came the...
Okay, that's not creepy at all.
Sounds like the chest is writing poetry now.
The whispers deepened, becoming clearer, louder, closer.
This box has more dramatic flair than Xerthos.
Just then, alarms from the far side of the moon blared. A distant streak of light flashed through the dark sky.
That's the meteorite. Countdown's up.
They both clamped their claws over their ears, bracing for a boom.
Here we go!
Huh?
That was extremely underwhelming.
Now that's more like it.
They rushed toward the roar, weaving through half-buried machinery and metallic canyons until they found Radidon, curled up in a crater-side corner, visibly trembling.
Buddy? You good?
It landed right there. I saw my light flash before my eyes, and it was mostly turned acid green.
They turned to the glowing, cracked meteorite now embedded in the ground. Steam hissed from its surface. Something moved inside.
Wait, don't touch it. It's probably...
Too late.
The meteorite burst open in a blaze of molten light and spiraling smoke. From it rose a hulking bladed figure, Motorouk, legs like pillars, shoulders lined with sharpened blades, twin tails arcing with electric pulses, no eyes, just raw, ancient instinct. Everyone stared.
I have returned.
Hey, welcome back.
I sense chaos coming. How will you stop it?
We really need more legendary dragons in our life.
Good news, I found the last two. But bad news, I nearly got eaten by a sentient vending machine.
He jammed the batteries into the chest. It roared to life. the hum now deafening.
Whispers, echo, prison, gears grind, dissipate, files, ripple, darkness, the Robodon, awaken, to everyone, beware.
A pulse of green light surged across the pit, illuminating ancient circuitry and distant gates. The cavern shook. Somewhere far below, something enormous began to stir.
This is gonna be it.
Did it just now?
They all looked down the newly opened path, a long, deep corridor stretching into shadow.
Let's finish this before the moon turns silver.
Venid gulps as the ground trembles beneath them, dust falling from above. Radidon, wide-eyed, takes a step back. The massive mechanical titan before him looks just like him, but robotic, and much bigger. From the shadows below, Robodon rises. Round 1 begins. Tentacles burst from the ground, huge, metallic, and gnashing with steel jaws.
Avoid the line! Every 10 seconds! Move!
Explosive mines erupt in bursts. Red danger zones flash across the floor. One wrong step and a dragon gets singed. The group works together, slashing and blasting, avoiding the chaos until the tentacles fall. Robodon slumps forward, hissing steam, vulnerable. They strike. 1/3 of his health falls. Round 2. The tentacles remerge. A massive laser beam sweeps across the floor, burning through metal and stone.
Don't stop moving. It's like dancing, but deadly.
Everyone dodges, wings flapping and claws scraping as the tentacles lash out again. Once more, they are cut down and Robodon falls, 2/3 down, nearly there. Round 3. Red warning signs flash. The ground glows in sectors, left, center, right. Danger zones rotating with deadly precision.
Stick together! Watch for the patterns!
It's chaos. Tentacles lash, lasers flare, ground erupts, but the dragons persist. Robodon crashes down, screeching in fury as his health drops to nearly nothing. Cheers rise until the rumble returns.
No, it's not done.
Robodon rises again, supercharged. Wires spark, his body pulsing with glowing veins of power. His tentacles thicker, his laser brighter, his rage stronger. All attacks cycle rapidly, bombs, lasers, danger zones, but this time, bombs become their weapon.
Use the bomb! The tentacles can't take it!
They roll them in, and with a few perfectly timed detonations, the tentacles explode. Robodon drops for the final time. They pour every ounce of energy into one final attack. Fire, claw, fury, and with a deafening metallic shriek, Robodon explodes into shards and ash. Cheers. The battle is over. They won.
Let's never do that again.
Back at the surface, Roborus stands in awe.
Well, I'll admit it. I was wrong. You all saved the moon. Congratulations.
Dragons from all over return to the Wastelands Moon, amazed by its new tech and beauty. What was once a desolate rock now hums with life, energy, and a new beginning. Venid, Neroxide, Radidon, Cybernid, Xerthos, Mecha and Motorouk. They did it. They brought light to the darkest corner of the galaxy, and they all lived happily ever after. Well, until the next meteorite lands. Welcome everyone to the first ever Galactic Dragon interview. I'm your host, and I've got questions, snacks, and zero clue what I'm doing. Let's dive in. First up, Venid.
Is this edible?
Please don't eat the equipment. So Venid, you've fallen into like 3 pits, ignored several warnings, and may or may not have woken an ancient mechanical god. Thoughts?
Look, in my defense, shiny green chests are very thirsty wastes. And Leo said, don't go there twice.
You did. You really did.
Regret is belief.
Next up, Neroxide, the edgiest dragon with a soft spot for punching walls. Tell me, what fuels your rage?
The crushing blades of existence. And it's still moon pebbles. Yeah, do not eat those.
I told you they were fake food.
Speaking of Radidon, our resident panic dragon, how's your blood pressure holding up?
What? Blood pressure. Is it the thing that makes the eyes switch every time something explodes? Cause that's quite frequent. I mean, what can I say? I learned dramatically. It's my fame.
Well, stop doing it when I'm sleeping then.
Cybernid, you're basically Venid if he had a software update and emotional maturity. What's your take on your organic twin?
It needs a lead and possibly a helmet. Or 6.
I heard that.
Good, you were supposed to.
Xerthos, meteor-riding mystery dragon. Why do you talk like an ancient oracle? So you're what, 5,000 years old?
Oh no. 5,001. Get right. Oh.
Which brings us to Mecha Neroxide's mechanical twin with questionable upgrades. Why do you have a built-in fog machine?
Because if I can't be cool, I can at least look cool. What's this?
Use that doing stuff. You are spotted in 3.2 seconds.
Worth it!
Last but not least, Motorouk, our mecha beast with 2 tails and an ego to match. How do you stay so battle-ready?
I bench press asteroids and drink molten lava smoothies. Oh, also, ice cream at the boy daily. Keeps me grounded, you know? And that's why the voice screamed back.
All right, final question for everyone. If you had to form a boy band, what would it be called?
The pitfall.
No. 4-4 saying Knockdown would be better. Clearly.
We came, we punched, we screamed is personally better in my opinion.
Please stop
The
this.
prophet, oh boom. Fireworks and air messages.
Actually, I think the best one, in my personal opinion, would be Metal Mayhem EX, featuring me. You know, me, the best one here.
I'd buy that album.